Hey there, everybody. This is our Big Brother 22 All-Stars live feed spoilers evening edition, day 12. We'll also talk a little bit about tonight's new episode, which really felt like a long trip down Dan Giesling memory lane.
No kidding. It's like he's on the show.
He pretty much is in some
Right?
ways based on what's going on right now. But we'll start this video by talking a little bit about the episode, and then we'll go into the feeds because there's some interesting conversations happening over there, and at least this episode actually contained info from the feed that we should have gotten on the feeds, to put bluntly.
Agreed.
So we'll talk about all of it, but before we do, if you guys like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other Big Brother updates, and also support us further by checking the links to our Patreon, where we do live chats at the end of every month, and there's some other benefits there well worth checking out, and also our store for shirts, mugs, and other stuff.
Okay, first I want to give a little bit of love out here to David because, man, this guy is so perceptive, which is why I wanted to see him back on the show. So seeing Memphis give him the have-not and then seeing him in the diary room be like, I know what this means. This means I'm also being nominated. And of course, he is. This is what I've been waiting to see from David.
You know what the word is that would have really, just made my light bulb go off in my head? It's buddy. Like, if you're in the Big Brother house with someone and they're calling you buddy, they're probably not your buddy. We see this all the time on, The Bachelor, where you'll see some of the contenders, and, they will never be hey, friendo, to somebody who's actually their friend. They'll just call them by their name.
Yeah, I had been actually waiting to see that nomination ceremony because, I saw all the after effects of it where David was really upset that Memphis was talking down to him and being condescending, and he was doing the same thing to Nicole Anthony, basically like, I told you to play in that safety suite and you didn't, and now ha ha ha, this is happening to you. Like, it was very uncomfortable to watch that.
Memphis, he's got some weird things going on in this episode. Okay, let's just talk about the Dan Giesling obsession that seems to be happening here.
Yeah, they played it out a bit differently on the show than what I've been saying for the past little while, because originally when he sort of first came into the house, he was talking about how he wanted to get out Ian, and my original thinking on it was that Dan beat Memphis, and then Ian beat Dan, and if he can't beat Dan, then Memphis can beat the man who beat Dan, and that's what was going to be happening here, and that was my thinking. The show is showing it more of Memphis is out to get revenge for Dan, and sort of bring Ian down for Dan. I was just like, is that really what's happening here?
Okay, so Dan, I do not believe, and it's not like we can pick up the Dan phone and just ask Dan about this, but I think he's probably not that concerned about revenge. I feel like Dan is probably just at home streaming something on Twitch right now, and he's fine, he's unbothered by everything, but it's sort of like the show makes it pretend like Memphis sees Ian and he gets a target and his eyes turn blood red and he's just like, I must avenge you.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously we don't know Memphis or Dan, so we don't know how close their friendship is. If they talk every day, they talk once a month, they're friendly, they're whatever. I'm sure they're still friends, obviously. Memphis was saying that on the show, I believe him, and we've seen Dan on Twitter talking about, supporting Memphis, so I get it. But is it that deep inside of Memphis that he feels he needs to avenge Dan? I don't 100% buy it. I feel like this is maybe a little bit of avenging his friend, but also taking down the guy who took down Dan.
This is the thing with some of Memphis's actions this week. It's I understand in principle some of the moves and some of the targets he has, but it is the way that he vocalizes them. He could just say Nicole A and David are easy nominations because he doesn't have a great relationship with them. He doesn't have to be condescending. He could just say Ian is a winner and an enormous threat instead of making it the Dan Giesling revenge tour.
Yeah, there's something more going on there, and as I said, I do believe that Memphis and Dan are friends, but I'm sure he didn't like losing to Dan. So, yeah, you can't beat Dan right now, but Ian's here, and maybe you can beat Ian.
Okay, the other sort of big thing from this episode that's Ian related to me is we found out that Ian and Christmas had a conversation, that Ian actually struck a deal with the safety suite, and this wasn't on the feeds, at least as far as I know, and it was kind of interesting because these past couple days we've been so quick to like, okay, this is Nicole Franzel's move, she did this, she misted Christmas into doing it when it was really like Ian did all of this mostly himself.
Yeah, because she's been trying to take credit for that move, but it was interesting tonight to see that Ian did this move all by himself.
One of my favorite moments of the whole episode, though, was Christmas going up to the HOH room to, like, celebrate and have a good time. She was so happy, and Memphis was just so mad.
He was so mad.
I'm liking Christmas more this season, by the way, than I did in Big Brother 19.
I agree.
Like, she's not in, like, my top 4 that I'm rooting for, but I think maybe it's the show's presentation of it. I don't know, but she seems to at least be one of the people within the Blob Alliance that isn't driving me as crazy as Memphis or Nicole F is at the moment.
And it was interesting to see the way that the show cut that together, because I watched that unfold on the live feeds, and it wasn't exactly quite like that. It was actually a little more, he was talking down to her a little more than what they were actually showing on the show. But Memphis, you're getting an all right edit.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Memphis is getting a pretty good edit based on what we've seen of Memphis on the feeds. And with that in mind, let's navigate a little bit over to those feeds. Spoilers, obviously, with Dan if you don't want to know, but Memphis won the power of veto. As of right now, it still feels like he's probably not going to use it, and Nicole, Anthony, and David are going to stay on the block.
Yeah, I mean, he really doesn't have any reason to. And interestingly enough, a lot of people haven't really been trying to convince him otherwise, which kind of makes sense at this point because everybody that seems to be going to Memphis isn't getting any information from him anyways, and anytime you try to push him in one direction, he just does the opposite.
I had this thought, and like I don't want to do the devil horns for this because mostly I'm going to be doing the devil horns for myself because I do not want this, but I had this thought of like, what if every single person in the house other than Janelle and Kaser goes to him and is like, you should put Janelle on the block as a replacement nominee? Like, would he actually do it then?
I don't think so. I think Memphis is really trying to show that nobody can influence him, not his alliance, not Janelle, not anybody, that he's not sharing information, he's not taking information. It is whatever Memphis wants to do, and he just doesn't care. I just wonder if maybe some people are getting kind of nervous about coming to talk to him too much because then they may put the target on themselves. Obviously, veto ceremony hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And Memphis is unpredictable. So, do you need to put a target on yourself to save anybody that's on the block right now? I mean, they're not in tight enough alliances that anyone would really put their neck out.
Yeah, and I think people are probably also just getting irritated by Memphis kind of reiterating the same thing over and over again, including, I'm not campaigning for one of you to go over to the other, so if anyone tells you this, they're lying.
Yeah, he's had that conversation many times now.
He likes to kind of bring this back, and that's ultimately it. And Janelle is one of these people where she could fight harder for Nicole Anthony, but ultimately she doesn't want to be a replacement nominee herself, and I think she's worried about it.
Yeah, and realistically, I actually don't think she needs to be worried about it. I don't think she's actually a target. But at the same time, and you guys know I like Nicole Anthony, but Janelle has been trying to work with her and putting herself out there for her. And Nicole Anthony is not interested in working with Janelle and has talked behind her back and shared information. And now she's even saying that she will nominate Janelle and Kaser if she gets a chance. So Janelle, please don't put yourself out there anymore for Nicole Anthony. She is not in your alliance. She does not want to work with you.
I don't know why it shocked me to hear Nicole Anthony say this, and maybe she's just saying it for the sake of saying it, but it's just like, for starters, Yeah, she mentioned Memphis maybe as like a replacement nominee, but Memphis is the one who actually nominated you, Nicole. Like, maybe that's a little bit of a better move at this point. And I do sort of get the idea here of if you think that everyone in the house is out to get Janelle and Kaser, if you put them up, maybe you'll look like a hero to the rest of the house, but you're gonna be on the bottom of the rest of the house. You're really not gonna get that far ahead unless people pick each other off.
And we've seen that kind of happen before where someone on the other side of the house, takes out a part of their own other side of the house just to try to fit in with this bigger, more popular group, and then they just go out right after them. I mean, it never really works. If you're not part of that alliance, you're not part of that alliance. And Nicole Anthony has to know she is not part of that alliance. Nobody's talking to her about it.
Let's talk high school here for a moment. We're very familiar with the idea.
Must we go
I
back?
know, we're drudging up bad memories here, people. But as you probably can tell, we're both a little on the nerdy side. By a little, I mean a lot.
A lot.
We know a lot about being isolated from the cool kids. And we know that when you try to fit into the cool kids, a lot of times they'll use you and then be like, ha ha ha, now that you've helped us with our homework, goodbye.
Yeah, enjoy this locker. So, I mean, it is like that. And it's like this on this show, too.
Exactly.
We've seen that happen before. And I just don't know what is going on with Nicole Anthony. Really, I don't. I don't know why she's so like Janelle is a problem. And so much so that she wants to actually nominate her.
Yeah, and speaking of Janelle, like, even had opportunities today, and she does want to save Nicole A. Like, she's made that clear time and time again. She wants to find a way to do it. She actually restrained herself in a shocking move for Janelle and Kaser, who have not really restrained themselves at all for a lot of this season. They didn't really push anything to Memphis. They had a long conversation earlier today. I think they realized that's kind of a little bit of a lost cause, and Memphis still is not letting up any information to them either.
Okay, so we also had a conversation between Danny and Cody, who are kind of complaining that there are just too many alliances. And it's true, because they're all in this blob alliance of like this whole other side of the house. It's like one giant alliance plus a whole bunch of different mixtures of that alliance, where then it's 4 people here and then another group of 5 here and then a group of 6 here. And they're just all like, it is a blob, sucking up more people into the blob.
It's true, and I ultimately just wish, like, the following people should just get together and name an alliance. So you've got Memphis, Cody, Enzo, Tyler, Christmas, Nicole F, Danny. I was terrified I was going to forget one of them. And then you have, like, Dave Vaughn and Bailey, who are kind of, like, adjacent to it, kind of, sort of. Like, they just, like, it would make life so much easier if they would just call themselves, like,
the 9-person alliance?
The conglomeration. I don't know. Just it's just they all kind of are all mixed up with each other in some shape or form already, and it Danny and Cody are complaining they're in too many alliances because they're all in alliances with these people, and they're just like, one of them will have this person and one of them won't have this other person.
Yeah, and that's why I think that, by the time we're getting into next week, all these alliances are going to have fractured. Like, Memphis being in power really is starting to put the ball rolling on that, because of the way that he has acted during his HOH, where he is not keeping really anyone in his alliance attuned to what he's doing. Nobody knows what he's doing, even the people he's working with, which isn't great.
That is the best thing about this, though, right? Is that when you have a big, scary alliance like this, you want to know that they could break up, and there's tensions in there. Is Danny talking to too many people? Is Memphis mad with power? The answer is yes, and because of that, I think they will fall apart, hopefully sooner rather than later. It's not that I'm rooting against them, I'm just rooting for chaos.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got his big case of HOH-itis, and I saw one of you guys mention Veto-itis now, which is great until they made my day, because it's so true.
Memphis has managed to create a new ego-related power disease within the Big Brother house. Congratulations, Memphis, but we'll see what else happens tonight. I'm not expecting a lot because the veto ceremony's tomorrow. We haven't heard any conversations.
And on top of it, Memphis just isn't really talking to anybody about what he wants to do. So, I mean, that has been what it's been like all this time. I think it's just going to continue on.
Well, for now, though, let's hear from you guys. What did you think about the episode tonight? What are your takeaways from Memphis's HOH? Who do you think is going? It feels like Nicole Anthony's probably in more danger, but it's still early. Things can change. Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us further. Check those links in the description to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.